Hi guys. So tonight's video is one you certainly do not want to miss, okay? So have you ever been in that situation where someone has offended you, been terribly rude to you, said things to you that are ridiculous lies, or they're dishonest, or treated you in a terrible way, crossed your boundaries, whatever, you know what I mean? And at the time, in the situation, you just kind of froze or said nothing or backed away or just let it go. And then hours later, your mind's still spinning thinking about it, and you can think of the perfect thing to say, the perfect thing you wish you said, and you're like, oh, like you kick your own ass inside because you just wish you said it at the time, right? So the problem is that dealing with conflict is not something we're born with. It's not something that we're just innately know how to do. It's a skill that you learn, okay? And it's a very important skill because if you spend your whole life dodging and hiding from conflict, you'll never learn how to manage it when serious comes your way, right? When serious conflict comes at you, you won't know how to deal with it. So you've got to learn the skills to be able to manage conflict with individuals as it comes up and face it, address it. Don't let it pass you by. Don't let that opportunity pass you by because truly it's your opportunity to learn and grow. So there are two types of people in this world they pose the highest risk to your mental and emotional health and well-being. And by default, because emotional and mental health issues and stress related to stress and problems and conflict cause physical stress, and that causes physical health and illness and an unwell lifestyle. They pose the highest risk to like all three categories: mental health, emotional health, and physical health. Okay, so those are the two types of people who pose this highest risk are those who can justify anything they do or say or any actions they take. It will be things like, oh well, I learned something about you, or you said this, or you did this, or like this is, or they don't agree with your lifestyle or whatever. And the other type is those who are self-righteous, those who think they're better than you, they've done better than you, they know more than you, they see you as lower than them, okay? And self-righteous people will always see themselves as higher and better than everybody else and all-knowing. And that makes them almost seek out conflict all the time in every step of their life. And if you look at their lives, you'll see they pretty much create conflict wherever they go because they're always self-righteous and they're always going to be. So those are the two types of people. So it takes skills to learn to deal with them, and I'm going to help you with this. You need to be able to engage in the conflict, and there's three phases or three levels of managing these sorts of conflicts with these individuals, or with individuals who just by accident have in error and without intention have done something to you that has been offensive or hurtful or mean or damaging. But I'm going to go through all three phases and I'm going to teach you how to do this. So my name is Deirdre Elizabeth, and I am someone who makes videos all about self-improvement and about socialization and social psychology and learning about people and communicating, but I also make random videos too. And usually at this point, I tell people why they should subscribe to my channel, and I say, please subscribe, give me a subscription and a thumbs up. But now I'm going to tell you why you shouldn't subscribe to my channel and who shouldn't subscribe to my channel, because I think that's just as important, okay? So first of all, this is like a trigger warning. My opinions are usually very unpopular. They don't fit in normally with popular culture or what society is often preaching as like the normal opinions a woman my age should have. So that's one reason, and that might trigger you. I do have unpopular opinions and I share them openly and I don't care. So that's one reason. The second one is that what I say is usually, because of the content of my videos, it's based on scientific facts, so you really can't argue with it. There's really not much you can say, but some people will insult me as a human being as a response because they don't know what to say to the content that I've created. So it gets frustrating, I'm sure, and that's triggering as well. And the third reason is that I don't stick to one niche. Most often, my content is based on something that's going on in my life at the time, or something that I've seen or encountered, or something that I've experienced. and it comes to mind and I make a video about it. So since my life is diverse, my videos become diverse as well. They're not all about one thing. So that might be something that you're not interested in. A lot of people like a content creator who just creates videos about one topic or subject, and that's just not me. I get into all kinds of stuff, and like stuff on opposite ends of the spectrum too. Like it's a little wild, but if you follow along, I hope you enjoy it. And the other thing is, again, my content isn't typical content for a woman in my age group. I discuss things that most girls are talking about, like stuff that's totally different than what I'm talking about. And sometimes I do dabble in like typical content for women my age, that the typical content creator stuff, but and the typical and the popular social topics. Sometimes I do dabble in that, but a lot of times I don't. So those are three, maybe kind of 3.5 good reasons why you wouldn't want to subscribe. So if you still do, fantastic. But if you don't, there's a trigger warning. That would be why. All right, so let's dive into the video on that happy note. So these two types of personalities. So first is the ones who can justify anything. They are so dangerous because no matter what they do, to what degree, whether it be something small like calling you a name to trying to completely destroy your life, they will have a reason for it. They will come up with a reason in their mind. Even if they have to make it up, they're able to convince themselves that this reason is legitimate. And sometimes it's because they're mentally ill, and that's why they're able to do this. And sometimes they're just horrible people. And sometimes they just have this skill and ability, and they're just born with it, and they just convince themselves of whatever the hell they want. And that's how they run their life. They just do whatever they want. They justify it so they don't have to live with themselves. And the reason they're so dangerous is because they sleep like angels at night while their victims stay up and pace and like toss and turn, okay? And once we learn to confront these people, we won't toss and turn anymore. We'll get it out of our system. But we got to be able to do it in a productive and in an effective way that's going to work for them and we're going to work for us, okay? And some of the advice I'm going to give you is not probably very constructive, but it still works. So it's just a little bitchy, but that's okay. I think it's fair. So anyways, the second type of people who are super dangerous are the self-righteous. Now, these are the ones that are gonna, like, they're so obvious. They always think they're better than you. They know more than you. They're in a better position than you. They're more successful than you. No matter how ridiculous and pathetic and cookie cutter their life is, they could have like their boy and their girl and like their dog and their house and their whatever and their mediocre job and like their Bachelor of Arts and be like an average freaking person, and they still think they're like better than everybody and they know more than everybody with all of their vast life experience that they gained getting married at like 24 and like doing nothing with their lives other than pushing out babies and, you know, holding down an administrative job. How about that for an example? That's specific, right? But it could be anybody. Self-righteous people. And if you're one of those people that have a lifestyle like that and you're not self-righteous and you're actually a level-headed, understanding person, knowing that you know more than some people and there's some people that know more than you, then you're not included in that. And if you enjoy your lifestyle, then good for you, because doesn't matter who you are or what you do. Some people hate their freaking lives every day. So if you found one you enjoy, then congratulations, you're blessed and you're lucky. So it's the people who have these experiences and who think they know more than everybody, who's had diverse life experiences, who's faced challenges, who has overcome challenges, who has been able to soak up knowledge from a wide variety of resources, to who's had life experience, right? Who's really lived, and they think they know more than them. And they'll say things, there's cues to who these people are. Even if you never get in a conflict with them, you'll know who they are ahead of time, because they'll say things like, they're the type that'll be like, oh, you look so tired. Are you okay? Or are you okay? You look tired. Or how about this one? You'll hear, are you doing okay? How are you really doing? Or if you say, yeah, everything's great, they'll be like, but really, how are you really doing? right? Or, are you taking care of yourself? Are you taking care of yourself? These seem like kind, like considerate comments on the surface, but they're not. They're terrible, and they're condescending, and they're meant to put you in a lower position and make you feel like someone is better off than you and doing better than you, and it puts you in a position of explaining yourself and why you're okay and why things are good. Never do it. Never give them that. Never explain. Okay? After the first time you tell someone, I'm okay, I'm doing great, and then they say, how are you really doing? Say, I just told you, I'm okay, I'm great. And that's it. Don't even respond to it again. If they ask you again in another way, just don't even respond. Now you pose the question and say, how are you doing? I've been concerned about you. That's not constructive, but it's mean and it works. But turn it around. Ask them a question about themselves. How's work? How's the kids? How's life? How's the house? Or how's your new apartment? You know what I mean? Just flip the switch. Like, turn it around, start asking them questions. That's how to get out of that situation. Don't ever start explaining yourself to these people. That just encourages them and it goads them on, and then it gives them the permission slip to start engaging in conflict and causing drama in your life that you don't need. So, a phase one response to someone who is done something to cross your boundaries, someone who's done something to hurt you, someone who's done something offensive. And this applies to somebody that you love, somebody that matters to you in your life, and or somebody that you know isn't one of those two characters and that didn't intend to cause harm. They might have caused harm, but they didn't intend to, and you know they didn't intend to. And the way to respond to them is to just ignore it. Put a little space between you, physically and emotionally. Give yourself a bit of time to be pissed, be angry, be let it eat at you. It's okay to feel feelings, to everyone talks about observe it and let it pass. Observe it and let it pass. It's okay to feel pissed off, and it's okay to be angry, and it's okay to have your feelings hurt. So revel in it for a while. It's okay to cry, lay in bed and cry for an hour, and then sometimes you feel better after. Revel in it. Get upset, but put some space between you so they don't see it. Do it privately in your own home. Don't tell anyone about it, and just feel your feelings, and then they'll pass. Just give yourself some space for a little bit, and then forgive them and move on because they didn't intend to do it. That's the first time. If it happens again a second time, then you move to phase two. Phase two is also reserved for those who maybe fit into those two categories, and those are people that what they've done to you was inappropriate, it crossed your boundaries, and it was intentionally harmful. They intentionally harmed you. They've done something that they knew would hurt you, and they are able to justify it in their head, why they've done it, or they think you deserve it because they're self-righteous and they're better than you, and they think you're whatever they think of you. They justify it in their head because of that, okay? So what you need to do with these people is you need to call them out on it. You need to tell them, say, what you just did crossed my boundaries. It's against my personal policy to be spoken to that way or to have someone treat me that way. It's just not something that I stand for and not something that I accept. It's not a behavior that I accept. And this is what you did that crossed those boundaries, and explain it to them. And at this point, you might get a big FU from them, and they'll hang up. And then you know that that's somebody you're just going to put a lot of space between you for a good long time. That means emotional and physical distance, no contact for a good long time. Not to say forever. I might give them a second chance if it's their first time, their first occurrence of this behavior. But if it's not their first time, then I would probably write them off for good. Now, in the past, I haven't done this. I've put up with it, and I've been sorry because they just keep coming back with worse and worse and worse things, and you just keep eating more and more and more because you're used to it, and you've trained yourself, and you've trained them to know that you'll accept this behavior. About a couple years ago, things changed for me, and I don't put up with that garbage anymore, and I tell people my boundaries. If someone does something, I literally will pick up my phone and call them and ask them exactly why they did this and what were they thinking. Was it meant to be harmful or was it meant to be helpful, is usually what I say. And they have to answer that. And usually they are so self-righteous, they answer, and they're so into justifying things in their mind, they answer with why you deserved it instead of answering your question. Okay? But you still call them out on it because it's not the answer you're looking for, because you're never going to get the answer. They don't know why they did it. They're sick. Okay? They're ill people, and they're unwell. Okay? Whether it's for a period of time or whether that's their whole life, they're unwell at that time when they commit that offense against you. Okay? So there's no getting a decent answer out of it, but just confront it, address the conflict. Don't be scared. Don't run away from it. Don't freeze. Address the conflict. Be mindful of how you address it, your tone of voice. Talk slowly, speak calmly, make eye contact, keep your distance. I would not, if they're a physically aggressive person, this already because this is someone you know how they behave and you know what to expect probably. I would do it over the phone, because chances are you're going to get punched in the face when you put it back on them, their own behavior. People don't like to be treated the way they treat you. And I believe I've discussed this before. So when you put it back on them and ask them why they've done this, they're not going to like it at all. Anyways, phase 3. This is for people who are repeat offenders. And these are for people who have not ever contribute anything positive to your life, only cause drama and problems and conflict and misery. That's what phase 3 is for. And the only answer to this, there's no point even engaging with them. And I've had to learn this the hard way as well. I've learned this the hard way because I've tried to engage and I've tried to make it constructive and tried to have constructive conversations. Like, what made you feel like it was okay to do this or say this? What about my behavior made you feel it? Because they'll put it on you and say, you did this. And you can say, well, what about this upset you so much that you did that? You can try and be constructive, but it's not going to work. It doesn't work with these people, not for the people in phase 2 that have intentionally tried to harm you. That won't work. And these people in phase 3, they have come for you. Like, these are people who have come for your well-being. They've come to destroy and cause destruction with their conflict, okay? This isn't a little offense. This wasn't crossing boundaries. This isn't being offensive and rude and hurtful. They have tried to destroy you, okay? The only answer for these people is to get them as far the hell away from your life as possible and keep them way beyond arm's length, okay? This is what you need to do. You need to block them. You need to not get lured in, because that's going to drive them crazy. And you don't need to give a reason why you're exiting their life either. You don't need to tell them why. You can either slowly back off. I've done that with people. I've slowly backed away. I just, first I'd start leaving early from events. Then I just stopped going to events. And then after you don't go long enough, they don't invite you and it's done. And then they can sit and wonder and be like, hey, I wonder where D went. Who knows, right? And then they can think whatever they want about where D went. Who cares? So there's that way to do it, or you can just cut them off. And either way is equally perfect. But I mean, inside you want to be like, oh, hell no. Like, oh, hell, you didn't do this to me. Like, I'm going to do this back. And I want to tell you, when someone comes for you, there may be opportunities to get them back, but it's not at the moment, and it's not in a way that they did to you. It's not in a way to destroy them. It's in a way to teach them that you are above being treated that way. And I've come to the conclusion that just pushing them away and out for good is the top of the ladder, and that's where you should go, straight to there. Not revenge, not anything like that, just the top of the ladder. Cut them out, create your distance, and never bring them back into your life, because these people were born this way. These people are definitely mentally ill. They definitely have big life problems, because hurt people hurt people. So you don't know what's going on in their lives. You don't know what's gone on in their lives to hurt them, but something has really, some shit's really happened to them, because they have gone out of their way to destroy another human being's life, and probably a human being that they know. Okay? So you never want them back around you ever, because that's all they bring to the table. And they don't bring anything positive ever in between. They're not even decent people in between the problems they cause and the drama they create. They bring nothing positive to your life or to the table or anyone's life that you know. So these are people that just exit them and never welcome them back. So guys, I hope this was helpful. I'm sure it pissed off a lot of people and they don't like it. And I'm really sorry if it did piss you off, but it's the truth. It is what it is. And it sucks, but that's life. And don't avoid conflict and challenge. The more challenges and the more conflict that you encounter and you learn to engage in, and you'll get better at it and better at it. You might not deal with it perfectly the first time. You might not deal with it perfectly the second or the third or the fourth or the fifth time, but you will get better at it. And the better you get, the more prepared you are to deal with it when the big one comes along, okay? And preparation is always the best response, and it's always the best defense is preparation. So that's how you can best defend yourself against these two types of people, is to be prepared for them. So I hope this was helpful, and I will see you all soon. Take care and have a lovely evening.